All right, everybody. I am so excited to be here with you for another session of Promptings Stories. So if you are first time joining us into Prompting Stories, you are going to be in for a treat because Prompting Stories number one is where we connect with different entrepreneurs and we talk about what they do, but also how promptings play a role in their life and business. So today we have amazing, wonderful Arliss Dudley-Cash, who we will touch on the tip of the iceberg of the impact that this woman has done in the community, and also the tip of the iceberg of how she is doing what she is doing with solutions. So, Arliss, could you please share with us a little bit more about you in that regard and what you do with your clients in solutions?
Thank you so much for having me here today, Marianne. And if I am only sharing the tip of the iceberg, then you're only sharing like I don't even know what's smaller than the tip. One atom of what you do in the world, which is so profound. So I'm a business coach and consultant, and I help business owners get organized and really learn the nuts and bolts of how to do business well, and then how to take a soulful approach to business. And I do this supporting one-on-one, working with entrepreneurs one-on-one. And I also teach classes like Solutions University. And then I do workshops for organizations. And it's a really wonderful place to be of service in the world.
Mm. Yeah, so that is definitely the very, very tip of the iceberg of what you do. And I know that you help people not just here on the island, because we are located in Hawaii. You help people on multiple islands, and I believe probably also in the US in different states. Do you work with anybody that's international, or are you able to do that?
I do work with at least one organization that's international, and it's really wonderful. I fell in love with the different levels of business when I was working in corporate, and I love working with diversity of business. So all the way from the brand new entrepreneurs that just have an idea and don't even have an EIN number to entrepreneurs or organizations that have been in business for 30, 40 years, and really helping them achieve their goals that they have in business while taking great care of themselves and having their team take good care of themselves so that they can have that longevity and sustainability that they're looking for.
Wow. And yeah, you made there a key point of taking care of themselves and taking care of your team. And that is actually part of your story, to where for our viewers and listeners, they can reach out to you or even read more about you and the tremendous things that you have overcome. You have done some other podcasts where you have shared your story to where basically you're not supposed to be alive anymore at this point.
Yeah, I
Um,
did overcome the odds. So this year, 2023, is actually my 10-year survivorversary, and it's pretty amazing. And I'm so grateful. And I'm very healthy now, which is wonderful. And I get new opportunities all the time to learn how to take care of myself in a deeper way.
yeah. So you are one example of someone who took what they were told would be and changed that story around. So that is phenomenal. You are an inspiration to where it's the kind of thing that as we learn more about you and we get more connected, it's like,
Well,
wow,
thank you,
your
Marianne.
story. Definitely. And as you are growing your business, there are certain things that you implement besides focusing on self-care, but you also implement using services, delegating, and systemizing. One of the services that you use is from a company called Promptings. And we're going to dive a little bit into that. But for those who do not know what Promptings is, we're going to go to a very short video that introduces about the company. So here we go.
So 33 years ago, I received a prompting, an intuitive thought that I needed to say bye to my brother Chris before I moved away from home. I ignored that prompting. A couple of months went by, and all of a sudden in the middle of the night, I received a phone call from my mother. She tearfully let me know that my brother Chris had just been killed in an accident. And when I got that news, the only thing I could think, ignored a prompting to say bye to my brother Chris, and I would never have the chance to do it again. So I made a promise to him that night. I promised him that when I received promptings to act out in kindness, I would act. And I would do all I could to help as many people as I could do the same thing. Let me tell you, we've been on a crazy journey ever since, and that was 33 years ago. And we have learned a lot in that time about this word called promptings. We've learned a lot about what you can do with promptings. We've even created systems to help people act on promptings. In fact, we've helped over 200 million promptings to be acted upon over the last 20 years. And through all of that, we've learned amazing things. When you act on promptings to reach out in kindness, you create an incredible appreciation energy that comes back to you. It activates your inner voice. So now you got two things going on. You have energy going out to the universe and the people in it, and you've got energy coming back into you, and it activates who you are as a person, and it helps you to create your purpose and the genius that you have to offer the world. With that balance, there's amazing things you can do, and you can learn about it in the book called The Promptings Process. It is an ancient principle driven by a modern day process, and that process helps you to keep balanced energy in your life. With that, you can do amazing things. I encourage you to download this book and learn from this ancient principle and learn about the modern day process.
So that was a very short introduction of what Promptings is. And let me stop the share here so that we can see each other a little bit more on screen. And so like Cody was saying, is that through Promptings, the company, it's helping people to act on their promptings and to reach out in kindness. And as you saw there, the machines printing cards and sending them out, that's something that you've been doing. Reasons that you send cards.
Yeah, I love send out cards. I use them in so many areas of my business. I also use them in many areas of my life, and it always gives a personal touch. And I could go into so much detail of how I use these in my business. One is anytime anyone is interested in learning more about my business and they reach out in that way, I typically send them a send out card and say, I'm happy to hear from you. You know, here are the ways that you can learn more about what goes on in my business and what might be the right fit for you, or if I have resources to other people that might be a good fit for you. If somebody chooses to start working with me, I always send them a welcome card and gift, which is always a great way to celebrate them and to show gratitude for who they are in the world. I have 2 classes that I teach year round, and I send a card to every one of my students every month. And this gives them a little nugget, a little reminder of what we're covering in class. And it also has them feel a direct connection to class, even if they've missed a couple of classes. So it can welcome people back in. I'm also a part of a networking group called Business Networking International, and I use send out cards to welcome new members, to celebrate really amazing achievements in Business Networking International, or to just say, hey, thank you. Thank you for what you're doing to support the people in your chapter or the other members that are around you. And then my personal life, I've used send out cards for my Christmas cards. And I have to tell you guys, this is like the easiest way to send Christmas cards on the planet. If anybody gets stressed out about going out and buying the perfect Christmas card and then making time for you and your other family members to sign it, and then getting all those addresses together and handwriting the addresses and then finding stamps, send out cards makes it easy. It's literally, when I did my Christmas cards this year, it took me less than 15 minutes and I sent out over 100 cards. It was wonderful and it was easy. And I got wonderful feedback from people on how they loved that. So yeah, send out cards is something that impacts all areas of my life. And it's because I'm able to reach out and share the love and kindness that I feel in my heart in a way that doesn't feel overwhelming to me.
Yeah, that is very powerful. And yes, as we send cards, there's always some kind of magic to the timing of when a card is received. Even when we think that, oh, I'm sending this kind of late, there is something in the universe that makes it that the reason why it's late is because it needs to be received when that person is having a bad day, or they're having a kind of day, or they're feeling down, or they just received some news that they weren't expecting. And I know that I've received numerous phone calls and even letters back with people sharing the impact that a specific card has made on their day. And I know that you have received some as well. So would you mind sharing the story of one of those?
A card that I've received?
A card that you have sent that has generated somebody to respond to tell you how they feel.
Yes. And I have many stories about cards that I've received and how much of an impact they've made on me personally as well. You know, a couple months ago, I noticed that one of the people that was in my business networking group was having a hard time, and for various reasons. And they're not somebody I'm super close to, but I had their address and I knew that they were having a challenge, and they are someone that is always giving to others, is always looking how to support another person around them. And I sent them a card and I just said, I want you to know that you're not alone and that there are people that are here for you. And I'm one of them, and there are many. And if you need help, you can reach out. And you're such an amazing example of how you continue to support others when you're in challenge. And thank you for that inspiration and that reminder. And they called me when they got the card and they said, you know, I didn't think that anybody had noticed that I was challenged. And I was so afraid to ask for help. And honestly, they said, I don't know what I would ask for. And getting this card just reminds me that I'm not alone in this challenge. And knowing that I'm not alone makes me feel stronger. And that in itself, I think, encapsulates how much of a difference a card can make. Because when we are in challenging places, it can feel like we're the only people there. And it's in our society, it's not always supported to ask for help. And when you can notice that someone needs the help, even if it's just to say, hey, I'm here, right? You can't do anything different, but hey, I'm here and I noticed and you're not alone. It can buoy people. It can float them to the top of their strength, float them to the top of their positive attitude, float them to the top of their knowing that things are going to be okay. And that can make a difference.
Yeah, I like that analogy that you use, buoy them up. I was like, buoy. At first I'm like buoy as in like boo, boo. I said, no, buoy as in that lifeline when somebody falls off a boat and you throw that buoy to help them to stay afloat and then get back on the boat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Wow, that is definitely a powerful story. And I know that you have many more that you have already experienced, and I know that you are going to be experiencing more throughout the years, just because the person that you are, reaching out in kindness, reaching out in appreciation and gratitude with others. And let me share with people how they can get a hold of you if they have any questions about anything that you shared today. So let me make that bigger. There we go. It's coming. It's coming. So if they have any questions about anything that was discussed about on today's episode, yes, they can reach out to me, but they can definitely reach out to you. And that would be at soullutions.com. So it's soul, SOUL, Lutions, LUTIONS. And I'm spelling it out because we do have some folks that listen to the audio on podcast, so they don't get to see the screen. So it's soullutions.com, and the email would be Arliss, ARLISS, at soullutions.com. So I am so thankful that you were able to hop on with me today, Arliss. I know that you have made a tremendous impact in my life, and just like your business overall, and that we covered just the tip of the iceberg, I know that we've just barely scraped the surface of the impact that you've made in my life already so far, and I think we're just getting started.
Thank you, Marianne. And you're such a bright light in this world. And what's amazing about you is that you shine your light on others. And it's beautiful because through promptings and the other ways that you support others, you're lighting up the world.
Well, thank you. Thank you. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us today, and be sure to stay tuned for future episodes of Promptings Stories. Aloha. And I think I stopped.